Welcome to the August edition of the EDC board meeting. We'll start off with invocation and pledge. Ms. Tanya Clark.
Father God, as we come to you right now, Heavenly Father, we thank you for another opportunity to be able to gather here, Lord. Lord, we ask as we sit in this meeting and we do the work of your will, Lord, that we lead with love and compassion, and that we always put you first in all that we do. We ask these blessings as we ask all blessings in that precious Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
And now the pledges.
With allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, and indivisible.
All right, item number 2, we'll go through roll call real fast. I am Chuck Thompson. I'm the treasurer sitting in for Brent McWaters this evening. On the far left is Ms. Jasmine Funes. Next to her is Ms. Tanya Clark. To the far right is Mr. Michael Buckley. Next to him is Michelle Wyatt. We didn't realize you snuck in, but okay, very good. Good to see you. Next to her is Mary Giles. On my immediate right is our city secretary, Juanita Lamont, and to my left is our community director of development, Emilio Lavario. With that said, we'll move on to item 3, public comments. We have none, so we'll move on to item 4, business spotlight in the Cleveland area. I think we have the Kids Adventure Clubhouse. Please step up to the lectern and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Danique Johnson, and my husband, David, and I own Kids Adventure Clubhouse, which is now located in the great city of Cleveland, Texas. Before I go any further, I just want to tell everyone thank you for this opportunity. And thank you for having us on this evening. So, just a little background of how our business was started. My husband and I, we attempted business a couple of times, and we used to have a 4D party rentals business that was located in Conroe, Texas, and I also owned a in-home licensed child care center. We did that for a while, but we eventually moved to Cleveland, Texas because of a job relocation, and we actually fell in love with the city of Cleveland. So we've been out here for about 5 years now, and because of our passion and love for children, and then my husband's experience with construction, we decided to come together as one and create this indoor playground as you see here now. We are super excited about it. We've only been open a week, so this is actually our second week, and grateful for everything that has already happened. So like I said, we moved here about 5 years ago because of a job opportunity I received, and my husband and I fell in love with the city. I'm from Houston, my husband is from Conroe, so we loved Cleveland because it was more homey, and it just seemed like a community we wanted to be a part of. So that explained why we chose the city of Cleveland. Also, we did see the need. We know that we have child care centers and different things out here for children, but we also wanted to have a place and a location where children can have a safe, clean, and fun play center to come enjoy themselves. At our location, we do offer free coffee for parents, and we also have a lounge area for parents and adults to be able to hang out at and build a community as well. At the moment, we do not have any employees. My husband and I operate it only, but we are definitely looking to grow our business. Like I said, this is only the second week. Also, our goal is to stay an affordable business for all of the Cleveland and surrounding areas to be able to enjoy. We also do offer birthday parties and different events. At the moment, I am currently reaching out to other business owners right now because my goal really is to partner with the whole city of Cleveland and the school districts, the businesses, to be able to come together as one and partner with some things so that we can, just make our impact larger than what it is right now. As far as future plans, even though we've only been open for a week, we are already getting questions saying, like, do we offer drop-ins? So we're also thinking about doing that in the future, sooner than later, because we are getting a lot of families that is wondering, do we offer drop-ins? Right now, we do not do that, but we might start doing that in the near future. So thank y'all so much for this opportunity. I do have some flyers and some business cards. If I can, I'll give them to you. Thank y'all so much.
Thank you, and welcome, and good luck with the business. Next up is the Health Center of Southeast Texas.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for having us here today. Thank you, Heidi, for the invitation. And my name is Maggie Estrada, and I'm the Chief Operations Officer at the Health Center of Southeast Texas. My CEO, Stephen Rasciato, is also here tonight. And so, first of all, again, thank you for having us here. I think we take every opportunity we can to let the community know what we're doing here in town and also in the outer areas and surrounding areas and counties. So, Health Center of Southeast Texas is a federally qualified health center. So we are a community health center here in Cleveland, having our central location, which was, it started back in 2006 when Cleveland Regional Medical Center was still here. And so they actually, Stephen Rasciato actually was our CEO who started the health center in collaboration with the hospital, and so that's how it started initially. And we opened the doors in a very small location, and then from there we just kind of grew and moved on to have our own location here in Cleveland covered by USDA funds. And with being a federally qualified health center, we receive actually funding from HRSA, Health Resources and Services Administration. So we are a nonprofit organization, and because of the services we've been able to provide to our community and with other funding resources, we've been able to grow now to different locations. So we have a location in Livingston, Shepherd, Liberty, Dayton, Plum Grove, of course Cleveland, in the very near future in Roman Forest, and we also have a mobile unit. So the way we do this is really, again, we're a nonprofit organization, so it's with the collaboration of those partners that we have and those funding resources, such as HRSA, USDA, state funds, such as PHC, BCCS, Healthy Texas Women's Incubator Funds, and also with the help of Temple Foundation, which is who helped us get our mobile unit. So we're very thankful. That's how we were able to continue to provide those services. As a matter of fact, last year, we provided approximately 50,000 visits, patient care visits to our patients in the surrounding areas. We do a little bit of everything. We cover from, infants all the way to geriatrics. So we see the entire family. We have pediatric providers, family practice, mental health, including psychiatrists, which we have an MD level psychiatrist here in Cleveland, an NP, nurse practitioner, mid-level psychiatric, and also we have 2 counselors that provide that mental health here locally, and we also provide televisits to our sites. So that's pretty much what we do. We do a little bit of everything. Here in our Cleveland location, we also have our pharmacy. Our pharmacy provides 340B discounted drugs for our FQHC patients as well. So with that said, we're just very helpful. We're very thankful for every opportunity we get to grow and to continue to provide the services to our community that much needed services are around here, especially for mental health. And really the fact that we can provide quality care. We go off of quality as well. We have a committee that constantly looks at that to be able to provide that not only to our insured patients, because we do accept all insurances, Medicare, Medicaid, private insurances, but also to our uninsured population through a sliding fee discount program. We also have SDOH benefits, so we will look at social determinants of health and help navigate those patients that need assistance through different programs. So we are here to answer any questions you may have. We also brought some brochures that are over there in the table with pens. Even if it just takes word of mouth sometimes to really pass that word along and to tell people, hey, you should go here. It's not just about the underserved, even though we are here for them as well, but it's also for those who want quality providers in town. I know sometimes we do have quite a few here in Cleveland, but there's areas that do not have, as much health care that we need. So thank you for having us here today.
Thank you very much. Excuse me. Thank you for that informative information. A little redundant there, but thank you for both of you all showing up tonight to spotlight Cleveland businesses. We do appreciate it. Item number 5, I don't see Brian or Victoria. Are we going for an update on the chamber or no?
So, Mr. Chair, the chamber wasn't able to send a representative this evening, but they do have some updates to share. So Marco's Pizza shared that they'll be opening this Friday officially to the public. We do have some Marco's Pizza in the break room, courtesy of them, for anyone who's interested. But they'll be opening it this Friday, and there'll be a ribbon cutting to be determined after that. But Downtown Aesthetics and Wellness will be doing a ribbon cutting on Monday, August 25th at 9 a.m. And so the chamber will post those on there, and we'll probably share those on our EDC Facebook as well.
Very good, very good. Item number 6, reports and comments from board members. Let's start on the very far right. Mr. Buckley.
I just want to say I'm sorry for missing last meeting. I want to thank our Public Works, Fire Department, Police Department, city officials, city employees for everything they do. They got their work cut out. They've been taking care of it, so I do appreciate everything they do for us.
Thank you. Ms. Wyatt?
I want to say I'm sorry for being late. And thank you, like Michael Buckley said, I want to repeat that for all of our services here in the city. And I know y'all have been doing a lot of changes and a lot of upgrades, and it's starting to really show.
Absolutely. Everything that they are saying, the city is moving in a direction that is looking good and looking in a direction that we need. All these extra services that are coming about is a wonderful thing for Cleveland.
Thank you. Let's go to the far left. Ms. Funes?
I wanted to just give a small shout out since CISD students did start school today. I hope you all have a blessed year and a safe year. Again, thank you for every city official, but thank you to all the teachers that are going to be growing the minds of our children. Thank you.
Ms. Clark?
Yes, it was the first day of school in Cleveland ISD, so congratulations to those students who are returning to school. Also, Tarkenton ISD goes back this Thursday. But we're also truly grateful for the wave of new businesses that are choosing to call Cleveland home. Your decision to invest here is more than just opening doors, is opening possibilities for our community. So every ribbon cutting, every storefront, every handshake represents jobs created for families supported and dreams to take root. So I'm just proud to be a part of this work.
Outstanding. Our director, public comments? No, I do not at this time.
I'll just do my director.
All right. Item number 7, Amelia, we'll throw it to you for director's report, please.
Thank you, sir. Just a few things to share, exciting things that we're kind of thinking about and developing opportunities for the community and more significantly the small business and entrepreneur community. So we're partnering with Prairie View A&M Extension Office to offer an 8-session, what we're calling Business and Development Academy that teaches entrepreneurs and small businesses, equips them with kind of the skills and knowledge to navigate the complicated world of government contracting. And so that is going to begin August 20th. It's going to be a hybrid course, but those in-person sessions will take place at the Civic Center. So happy to offer that to small businesses. Another opportunity that we've kind of developed in-house with our small team here is something we're calling Designing for Success. So that's a workshop on how to use Canva, which is like a web-based graphic design tool. That's what we use a lot to develop our marketing materials. And so that'll be a Canva workshop for small businesses. So gives them some hands-on experience to kind of develop more successful and effective marketing collateral. And so that's going to be on September 9th, and it's an evening course from 5 to 6 at the Civic Center as well. So very excited to offer these educational opportunities to small businesses, and we hope that we have some good participation in that. But that's all I got for y'all.
Very good. We'll move on to number 8, public hearing. We're available to receive public comments on the designation of the following projects for fiscal year 25 through 2026 annual budget. First up is wayfinding and gateway signage.
So we've had a few workshops on the proposed budget for the upcoming fiscal year 2026. It's a pretty much a carryover kind of from this previous year, really just expanding and building on the momentum that we've established with that. So we're wrapping up our gateway and wayfinding signage plan. So the funding for next fiscal year is actually to start implementing some of those recommendations and the actual streetscape and the signage wayfinding system. And so these dollars will be able to help put towards those actual projects, and you'll see the actual tangible results of those signage improvements.
Thank you. And maybe I should have asked Emilio, have you got all of these bullet points?
Yeah, no, yeah, these are, so this is kind of to help us from a kind of operational standpoint. We hold this public hearing, designate these projects as EDC projects as part of our budget, and that allows us, once we get into October, to actually start utilizing funds for these projects. And so this is just part of a step in our budget process, if you will. And so there's more of the numbers on these in y'all's packet, and it's really a lot of the figures that we discussed in the past 2 workshops. So airport improvements, the EDC acquired a airport hangar from a different Sugar Land Regional Airport. We're going to be erecting that airport at Cleveland Municipal Airport. So that funding is to help with those improvements. Also, beautification and improvements to city parks and facilities. We've had a lot of activity this year and past year towards funding projects to beautify city parks and facilities, from small parks to the library and other facilities. There was also an initiative that EDC started to really beautify the city with some public art, some murals. There's also an interest in holiday decor, so that's what that funding is concerning. And then the job training opportunities, our collaboration with CISD Education Foundation, that's where that funding comes from. So these are the projects, in addition to some of the other operating expenses and other initiatives within our budget.
Thank you, Emilio. And with that, we will close the public hearing and move on to consent agenda. All consent agenda items are considered routine by the EDC board and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a board member requests an item to be removed and considered separately. Consideration possible action on the meeting minutes from July 21st, 2025 special called meeting, and number 10, the monthly financial statements, both June and our quarterly investment report. Do I have a motion to approve items number 9 and 10?
I make a motion to approve items 9 and 10.
Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
it.
Very good. Motion to approve by Michelle, and I think it was a tie between Mary and Jasmine for a second. Motion approved. All in favor? Very good. Unanimous. Thank you, Juanita. All right, my favorite item here, discussion and possible consideration on the items below. Discussion appointment of EDC officers, discussion and presentation from Retail Strategies, discussion and possible approval of the 2026 budget, and then discussion of possible adoption of EDC bylaws. That said, back to number 11. Do we have any discussion or appointment or a nomination for EDC officers? I guess we'll start with the vacant position at the moment, President.
I make a nomination for Chuck Thompson as president.
Do we have any?
I second the motion.
All right, I guess we'll need to vote on that. If you all will excuse me, I think I'll abstain for either voting for or against myself. It passes with me. Okay, thank you, Tanya. You can vote for me there, so I abstain. All right. Is Brent up for renominating of VP or?
So I think he would just maintain his position.
Okay.
If he wasn't, it'd only be if he vacated
Right.
that to be the
Yep.
president or.
Okay, so I'm assuming also we need to backfill my position as treasurer. So do I have any nominations or discussion on treasurer?
I nominate Michelle Wyatt.
I second the motion.
Very good. We have nominations second. Well, at this point in time, we'll vote on Michelle Wyatt for treasurer. And it looks like it passes unanimously too. I get to vote on that one, Michelle. So the banker is the new treasurer. So very good. I think that covers all of the open positions. So we'll move on to item number 12, presentation from Retail Strategies.
Yeah, I'll just tee it up while we get Retail Strategies group online and get their presentation pulled up. But I talk a lot about it in the budget about our third-party consultants that assist with retail recruitment, because that has been a priority that has been expressed, throughout the community, but also from the board, kind of evolving our retail landscape and ensuring that we diversify and offer new retail offerings to the community, and that will assist with quality of life and attracting new residents and businesses. And it does have a domino effect. It is part of the overall picture. So that's what Retail Strategies has been engaged to do on behalf of Cleveland, and we're happy to report that they're doing a great job. And so we just want to provide more information on their efforts and what all their service includes. So with that, I'll turn it over to Madison and his team. Can you hear us, Madison?
Hey there, I can.
Okay.
Can y'all hear me?
Yes. So I don't know if you heard any of that, but I just did a quick introduction on everything, and I'm kind of turning it over to y'all, and y'all can go through your presentation, and there may be some questions at the end.
Perfect. Yeah, I didn't hear the introduction, but I appreciate it. Let me get this sharing. Can everyone see my screen in there?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Well, thank you guys for your time this evening. So I haven't met most of you, but my name is Madison Neal. I am the portfolio director for Retail Strategies for the state of Texas. On the call with me, I have Megan Jimenez. Megan is the retail recruiter for our territory. So she does the majority of the outreach to brokers, property owners, any sort of retailers that we've deemed a fit for the market. I've got about 15 or 16 slides. I'm going to run through them. If there's any questions, feel free to stop me if I need to go back or anything like that, or speed up, whatever. You're not going to hurt my feelings. So I'll jump right into it. Just kind of walk through a little bit of kind of what we've been working on so far, and then some trends we're seeing and leads we're following. And I'll turn it over to Megan for some of that as well. So for any year one of our contracts, we start off with what's known as the discovery phase. That's where we come in, we do our first 90 days of the partnership. Usually days 1 through 30, we're running all the data analysis. We're creating that trade area, which I'll get to in a moment, drive times, radius rings. We do the boots on the ground tour, usually in days 30 through 60. I believe that Megan and I did that back in March, and we do that annually. And that's where we come in, we drive the market. Emilio drove us around the market and gave us kind of a lay of the land, pointed out any top priority properties, and we create a property catalog based on, properties that are either available, potentially available, anything like that. We want to make sure we keep a running list of those. And then we create our prospect list, so that retailer identification phase, which I'll get to more in just a moment. Over here on the right side is just the market flyer. That's kind of the primary piece of marketing that we use for your market. It just has, some basic demographics, some peer markets, all of which I'll kind of get to here shortly. But our goal is we want to take the city limits of Cleveland, Texas, and we want to put it in front of the retailers and tell them why they need to put a location within those limits. So they don't typically see property lines and boundaries, things like that. They see it more in terms of what audience do I stand to capture. So, if I put a location here, who's going to come from where to shop at my store, to eat at my restaurant, whatever the case is. So we want to tell the story of why Cleveland is so important for a location through their eyes. Doing that, we'll study a few different things, like I mentioned, that data. So we run drive times and radius rings. We do, 3, 5, 10 mile, 5, 10, 15-minute drive time, whatever, it's customizable completely. But one of the key pieces that we use is that trade area. That is where we can really show that people are coming into the market from other areas. So the way we determine that primarily is through the use of mobile data collection. So that is where we basically, phones have tracking services on them. It's a little bit creepy, but we run it from a major retail draw in your market. So this one that you're looking at here, this heat map, is run from the H-E-B there in town. But it shows, if someone walks in the front door of that store with a phone in their pocket, it's going to basically be tracking where they are. When they go home, set their phone down on the nightstand for the evening, it sits stationary for 8, 10, however many hours. It can determine that is that person's home, where they're coming from every day. So it creates these heat maps like you're looking at here. And what we'll do is we'll usually take the largest heat map and draw this polygon around it to kind of show, hey, people are coming in to shop, they're grocery shopping here. Chances are they're going to stop at, a coffee shop, they're going to stop for lunch, they're going to go clothes shopping, whatever the case is. We want to make sure we're telling that story to them. The other portion of this is that prospect list. So the way we determine that is usually 3 different things. The first is a void analysis. That's where we run a report that shows, hey, in this area, what brands are expanding, and nationally, what brands are expanding, and then based on a letter grade, which one would be, A, B, C, D, or F, what kind of fit are they for the market? So we'll go through that. We'll comb through it and customize that list, usually into right around 100, maybe sometimes a little more. And that number will only grow unless brands go out of business completely. We're only going to keep adding to that, even if it's for second locations for something. The other way that we determine that prospect list is the gap analysis. So that is the study that shows what sales tax dollars and what categories are leaking out of this area to go be spent elsewhere. So we want to make sure that we are cross-checking those to make sure we're targeting the right groups. And then lastly, if there's any specific things that you guys want to see more or less of. So if you said, hey, look, we're great on dollar stores, we're all fine with that. We want to focus more on entertainment or whatever the case may be. we will kind of tailor to that as well. We're not going to run anyone off, but we just won't exert our time and energy chasing something that you guys really don't want to see. Also, on that note, we won't recruit any kind of pawn shops or anything like that. Um, so just looking at that trade area a little bit more, these are some of the basic demographics from it, and you can get way more in the weeds on this. That is all on our platform that we communicate with Emilio on. But just some high level stuff. The level or the population within that polygon is that 110,000 number you're looking at. Everything looks, right where we would expect it to be. Very good, very solid growth. The one thing I really want to highlight is the growth rate projection here at 11.13% is fantastic. A lot of times what we'll see is a 1 to 2% positive growth rate, and that's great. But seeing that growth rate be so high and probably gonna be higher than that, that's just a projection, is extremely encouraging, and kind of the main thing that we live and die by is retail follows rooftops. So that's some great information. In looking at the gap analysis that I mentioned earlier, so this is again from that polygon. We run this for your city limits, for the radius rings and everything. This is that trade area. These are some of the top categories of sales tax dollars leaking out to be spent elsewhere. So you have almost always, you're going to see at the top, food service and drinking. That's any restaurant, anything like that. So full service, fast food, anything. There's a ton of opportunity there. Food and beverage stores, that's going to be your grocery stores and any store establishment that sells food and beverage. And then you can sort of see working down the list, but these are pretty much what we would expect, especially being, closer into a large area. But these are just some of the top categories that popped up as far as what the area needs a little bit more of. So in looking at that gap number, this 1 billion number is pertaining to that trade area, and that is the number of sales tax dollars being spent outside of that area. So our job is to try and bring that number down by targeting those brands and those users that would target those gaps in the area. Again, this number's right in line with what we would typically see, especially being so close into Houston. It's always going to have a large pull, so it's a great opportunity. So that's kind of our main goal, is to help bring that number down over time. In jumping into the recruitment side of things a little bit more in the real estate. So when we come into the market, we tour the area. Like I mentioned, Megan and I drive it first, kind of get the lay of the land, see where the major retail corridors are. And then Emilio drove us around and showed us anything that we should be aware of. So any top sites, we mark on our pin map here. If one thing to note about this is it's very zoomed out. If you were to zoom in on these, it would show a bunch, a lot more, a few more pins. But so if you see one that you're looking at and you think, hey, there should be a pin here and there's not, chances are there is, but we're always keeping a running list. This tracks any shopping centers, even if they're fully leased out. We want to make sure that we're on top of it in the event that something does close or move across town. We want to know about any vacancies and not be starting fresh and getting that marketed to these brands. So as far as what our immediate focus for the remainder of this year is, so we had ICSC Las Vegas back at the end of May. We had a great show there. It was a lot of positive conversation, and a lot of new retail brands that I'll get more into here in a minute. But the Vegas show is the largest one of the year. It's 50,000 people usually show up for it. And Megan and I have a full slate of meetings throughout that show. So we've been conducting our follow-ups. We provided the initial follow-up recap from the show on Basecamp, which is our online platform for Emilio to have access to. And that has the breakdown of everyone we talked to specifically pertaining to Cleveland. That's good, bad, or indifferent feedback, and kind of what next steps for follow-up there are. The next show up is going to be Retail Live Austin. That will be September 4th. And that's always a good opportunity to touch base with any brands that we've been talking to throughout the year, as well as any that we talked to in Vegas that maybe have not had a chance to give us any feedback. We want to make sure we're keeping this area in front of them and keeping those conversations going. And it leads into the end of the year, just kind of in their planning for 2026 expansion plans and beyond. And then one thing that we are starting to do are quarterly business reports. That helps kind of mitigate any communication gaps between these shows. So we get back from conferences and we provide a full recap of market specific feedback, but then we want to make sure that we're providing something in between that and the next show's recap. So we don't want to just say, hey, here's your Vegas recap, talk to you at the end of September. So we're going to be sending those out as well, and that'll have some national trends as well as mainly market specific, just quick hit updates of, we talked with X retailer in Vegas, or in our last conversation, we noted this. Here's kind of where things stand with that. So that's kind of our goal moving forward, is to make sure that we are providing quarterly updates in between these conference reports. So one thing that I like to highlight is, let me get through these. I forgot that this is an animated slide. I always like to put this slide in here. A lot of times what we hear is, we work on typically a 3-year basis, and that is because of this timeline. So from day one of a retailer, conceptualizing a brand and starting to discuss, strategy, all the way up to opening their doors in your market can take upwards of 3 years. Megan and our goal is to fall in anywhere along this timeline where we're able to help. So that being said, if we're at a show and we're talking with a brand new brand or a brand new to Texas, whatever the case, we want to make sure we're putting your market in front of them. If we come in and they're identifying markets, we again want to make sure we're selling the area to them. But even if it's, hey, we've been looking at Cleveland or the greater Houston area or whatever the case may be, we just haven't found the right site, or we have a site and we're having some communication errors with the broker on the site. Megan and I want to make sure they know we're here to help. There's even been times where if they have the site secured and they run into issues, permitting or something, we want to make sure that we're helping say, hey, we need to communicate this because we don't want them just to pull out of the deal altogether. So this slide just kind of highlights how long it can take, but also that we want to make sure we're nurturing it all along the way. At the end of the day, the retailers do drive that decision. So kind of leads me into the last couple slides here. So one of the major things that we will hear, typically if we hear an objection, it's not usually a flat out no. It's going to be much more of a, we like the area, but we don't have anyone to operate a location. So we want to try and cut that off any way that we can. So a couple things. There are groups that run franchise workshops. If there was ever an interest there and there was a big enough group, we'd be happy to put you guys in touch with them. We don't personally offer that. But we also will create a marketing flyer for the community with brands that have specifically said, we do want to be in this area. We just need someone to run a store. These guys do not usually mince words. If they don't have interest in a market, they'll just flat out tell us. If they tell us this, it usually means they mean it. But one thing that at the end of the day that it really helps with is, even if they come back and say, hey, we vetted out the candidate, we just decided we're not ready for the area, at least at that point, they have reviewed the market and it's on their radar, so that when the time comes, 2026 plans pop up and they say, all right, what do we have around the greater Houston area, Texas, whatever, they can say, well, hey, I've just finished reviewing Cleveland, Texas. So it really helps to kind of cut that process a little bit. So this is a document that we, once we have enough, we'll compile it and I'll send over to Emilio, and it can be, provided digitally, physically, whatever, to anyone who's entrepreneurial, anyone who has interest in it, or just kind of wants to get the word out there locally. So just a couple things trend wise in retail. So two major things that we've been seeing are a lot of activity in grocery. HEB is the big player in Texas, but there are other brands like Piggly Wiggly. They have expressed wanting to get back into Texas. Kroger and Albertsons had their merger that got killed off last year, but that kind of held things up, and now they're doing their own thing we're keeping on top of. And the entertainment industry is one that we are really seeing a lot of growth in, and a lot of, hey, people are wanting to spend their money all in one place. I'll kind of turn that topic over to Megan here for a second and let her expound on that just a little bit.
Thank you, Madison. So we've seen entertainment kind of break through with kind of wanting to be the one-stop shop where they have a restaurant and they also have more of a reason for you to stay. So we see growing families in a lot of these smaller and secondary markets. They don't want to drive outside of their area. They don't want to drive 1 to 2 hours to have a good little Saturday night or Saturday afternoon where their kids can watch a movie and they can also bowl, or there's laser tag, or then we go into the pickleball. That's continuously growing and not going anywhere. We have brands like Ace Pickleball Court, we have Courtside Kitchen, we have a lot of newer brands coming in and knowing that these smaller areas have a window where they can get into the market without competition and be the first big entertainment brand to kind of demand that space. We've talked to a lot who don't really care to be on the main retail corridors. Some of them are very picky when it comes to co-tenancy. One of the biggest hurdles with a lot of these brands, however, is primarily going to be second generation space. They do require a larger footprint. That's typically anywhere from 20,000 square feet in the upwards, I would say maybe even 30,000. We've seen a lot of them bid in the process of the Joann's closures, the con space closures, Big Lots. Those are the types of spaces that they are looking for. That's their home run space, but it's also those same spaces that general merchandise, your clothing and accessory brands, they're also going after. So those are in high demand. We are constantly looking for those to send them, but we do have a lot who are not afraid of ground up construction. And in those cases, we do send available land, and they like to be closer to the main retail corridor. Those are going to be more of the ones that are picky when it comes to co-tenancy and what's around them and what's going to bring more people in. And that's where vehicle counts per day come into play, and some of the data that we provide, Emilio and Heidi, and also the retailers whenever they're asking in-depth questions about the Cleveland market.
Thank you, Megan. And yeah, just one thing that Megan touched on that we're starting to see a little bit more of. This was specific to entertainment, but we're seeing it more with a lot of these brands, clothing and accessories being one of them as well. So specifically, Synergy, way back, I talked with them at the beginning of this year, and just in general as a whole of what kind of their outlook was, because they typically like to go in, Dallas, Austin, Houston, large, very densely populated areas. And he told us specifically, we've started to notice that we make our money in the secondary surrounding communities, because a lot of times, like Megan mentioned, people don't want to get in their car, load their family up, and drive an hour and a half into Houston traffic or Dallas traffic just to see a movie, let their kids play laser tag, whatever. So they're starting to see that trend and the opportunity. So I think that that's something that we're going to start seeing a lot more of from these brands moving forward. Last couple slides here. So we as a company attend 15 or so shows every year, just on behalf of all of our communities, specifically to Cleveland. Megan and I personally attend 3 to 4. The 3 that are given every year are going to be that ICSC Red River show in Dallas, the Vegas show in May, and then Retail Live Austin in August, September. The one outlier there is occasionally Scottsdale, Arizona will have a Retail Live show. If they do, we keep an eye on the attendance just to see if it's very Texas focused or not. Those are much smaller shows. Some years it is, and some years it's just not worth it. But that being said, we do always have someone at these shows, regardless of if it's Megan and I or whoever. Our company president is on the ICSC board. She's at most of these shows. And when they're out talking with people at these conferences, if someone mentions Texas or, anything involving this region, we they know, hey, I need to get this over to Madison and Megan, and they can connect us afterwards. So we always have kind of an ear to the ground, so to speak. And then lastly, the main questions that we get usually are how can we as a community get better involved with this partnership? And there's usually kind of three ways that I break that down. One is that franchisee effort. If there's anyone that you guys know of, or you yourself, or someone that is a franchise owner of a different brand, please let us know. If there's, connect them with Emilio and he can pass them to us, or however. We want to make sure that, like I said, we're overcoming any objections that we can on the area. Property information, again, if there is a property that is coming available, if there's a business that may be struggling or needs a second location or whatever, and their first one's about to free up, let us know. We're up in Fort Worth, not too far from you guys, but not close enough that we know the day-to-day going on in the market. But we want to make sure that we are on top of everything. Heidi and Amelia have done a great job of sending over properties as they come along, or just sending over information on any properties we've discussed before. So that's extremely helpful. And then lastly, brand suggestions. So if you're ever in a different part of the state, or honestly, if you're ever anywhere on vacation, whatever, and you see a brand and you think, hey, this is really cool. Have you guys ever talked to them about this? Have you guys ever talked to a concept like this? Let us know. We'll be happy to, if not get a yes, we'll get feedback on why it's not a yes. Our main goal, and I'll end with this and then we can talk through questions or anything, but our main goal is to make sure that we are continuing to keep you guys in front of these brands. So we want to make sure the next time they come up for expansion strategy, they say, hey, look, I have been getting knocked down with information about Cleveland, Texas. So we always are going to obviously want to chase the sexy answer of, yes, we want to be there right now. That's going to be our top priority. But we want to keep that pipeline moving so that as these brands that may be a maybe or a no, they see these other brands land and they start to say, hey, maybe we should take a look at this, and move them up in that category to the hard yeses. That being said, that's kind of all I have, so I can open it up for questions and we'll do our best to answer those. I will say that we have not seen much as far as just flat out rejection goes. It's the main thing I would say. And Megan, you can add to this if you want, but the main thing I would say would be the franchise objection would be and that's not a huge one, but it's just, if they're going to have a holdup, that's kind of it.
No, I agree. It would be the franchisee, and here and there we hear they're just very picky on site requirements. So whether that be a co-tenancy issue or restriction, or they're just looking for a certain building or second generation space.
Mm-hmm.
Well, board, do you have any questions for Megan and Madison while we have them? They love to hear brand suggestions. I will preface that by saying, when we talk to them, we always talk a lot about new format grocery stores, so H-E-B, Kroger, Aldi, things like that, and then kind of the national chicken users, Chick-fil-A, Cane's, stuff like that as well. So wouldn't hurt for y'all if reaffirm those things, but if there's other ideas about brands or concepts, they'd love to hear that as well, to see what we can do to attract those. And I do want to focus on some things that they talked about, where I think that we kind of struggle on is the availability of second generation space. I think that's something that actively kind of works against us, and it's going to force us to be creative in the future. And then some of our available sites and retail corridors either would require significant assemblage of land, some land banking, and then I think kind of the placement of freeway access kind of complicates some of that too as well. So some factors to be aware of, but it's not gonna stop our efforts, and so we're very much focused on those things. But I'd love to hear from y'all.
Madison, this is Chuck Thompson. The numbers that you threw out, the median income, 5-year growth, potential population, or maybe moving toward that population, were those numbers all derived from the Polygon?
That specific slide, yes, they were. And we have those numbers for pretty much any parameter you're looking for. But that specific one was for that polygon.
Thanks, that's all the questions I had.
Sure.
Yeah, Madison and Megan, I'll share the information with the board, and if, they want to reflect on it, we'll pass along any thoughts or questions
Yep.
after the fact. So we
Okay.
Absolutely.
really appreciate
We're
y'all's
here
time.
if you need us, and we want to make sure we're maximizing every part of this. So please do, if you think of anything, pass it along to Emilio, and we'll catch up about it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you all
you
so
so
much.
much.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, moving on, let's get to item 13, discussion of possible approval of the 2026 budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Again, we've covered a lot of ground in 2 workshops. There's nothing new to provide. It is incorporated into the city's proposed budget, which is available currently on the city's website. For transparency purposes, the information is out there. We won't go through the past presentations just for the sake of time. We want to make sure y'all have evening to enjoy, but if there's any questions from the past 2 workshops on information that we haven't covered, or if you have any questions, we'd be happy to answer that. But really, we just see this as part of our ongoing budget process. So once action is taken here this evening, it'll go before the City Council at their upcoming budget workshops for their final consideration and adoption as well.
Anybody have any questions on budget?
Can we make a motion to accept the budget as is?
Yes, we can. Sorry, didn't realize that was something we needed a motion on. So, Jasmine, I'm assuming
Yes.
motion for you, second on that?
I'll second it.
Second by Michelle. Motion, vote. All in favor? Sorry, I keep wanting to ask you all to vote, and as opposed to in favor. Motion carries. On to item 14, discussion of possible adoption of EDC bylaws. I know that Juanita has passed out the bylaws, amended bylaws. I think everything has been redlined. And is this our final copy of all of this?
So it is. So we shared this with Tommy after all of our many workshops on the bylaws, and so everything you see here is kind of suggestions or his input on items to help us just address from a compliance standpoint with state and federal law, and also just kind of legal construction and best practices, if you will. So as far as material changes, when I spoke to him this afternoon, there is none. Really just kind of different way of saying things through an attorney's lens.
So do we think that this is the final draft of?
Yes.
Very good.
So this is our feedback with Tommy's input as well. So this is the final draft.
Gotcha. Anybody on the board have questions or concerns? I realize it's an awful lot to try to read through in 30 seconds, but I know we have been discussing these amendments for the last couple of meetings, so I'll throw it out to you all if you've got any questions or concerns, or if we want to table this particular item until everybody's had a chance to read through it. All right, let's table this for next month's meeting before we actually adopt the bylaws or the final edition of the bylaws.
We'll go ahead and provide a clean copy. So you have a red line copy in front of you that shows the changes, and then we could provide you a copy that has all the accepted changes, and so that it kind of reads easier, and you can reference both documents.
Very good. Do we need a motion to table or?
I mean, yeah, you can.
Motion to table till next meeting?
I make the motion to table the next meeting.
Second?
I'll second that.
Motion by Mr. Buckley, second by Ms. Wyatt. All in favor? Thank you, Juanita. I appreciate that. Again, we'll try to get this narrowed down in the next meeting. On to closed executive session. Do we have?
I do have a few items.
Very good, very good. Yep. Executive session. The City of Cleveland Economic Development Corporation reserves the right to adjourn into executive session at any time during this meeting to discuss any item on the agenda as authorized by Texas Government Code sections. This Government Code section is 551. I'll go through the points after that. So 551.071, consultation with an attorney. .072, deliberation about real property. .073, deliberations about gifts and donations. .074, personal matters. .076, deliberations about security devices. And .087, economic development. With that said, we will adjourn for closed session at 7:01. There we go. And we're back from executive session, and the next item on the agenda is adjournment. Do I have a motion for adjournment?
Motion to adjourn.
I second that.
Very good. All in favor of adjournment? Motion passes. We are adjourned. Good evening, everyone.
I'll take some pizza home.